Hey everyone, welcome to Go Live, the Saturday evening talk show, and we've got an incredible show, and hopefully today, this week, you can actually hear me clearly. This microphone has been the bane of my existence, but I'm relying on you to tell me if it's good or not. It should be clearer. I've made Reddit threads and all sorts, and apparently it's my voice is the problem. So I don't know what to do with that. I'm stuck with that. But thank you so much for joining us. We have a great panel of guests that I can't wait to get into talk to their game about. Well, one of them is releasing a game, unless Erica's working on one secretly.
Well, I do have an announcement. No,
Ooh.
not yet.
Well, one day. But before I go introduce our lovely guests, I have to give a shout out to the co-founder and co-host, Asa, who makes this run smoothly. I know it sounds like I'm saying the same thing over and over again. I keep trying to make it sound different, but it doesn't diminish the reality of how much Asa has helped make sure this is a possibility. So big shout out to Asa. Asa, how are you doing, man?
I'm great, Gaz. I can hear you really clearly this week, and time will tell if that is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not convinced either way just yet, but I believe in you. It's going to be great.
Yeah, no, I will be. It will be. When is it not great? Even when you can't hear me, it's probably a blessing, which is what you're alluding to. But returning to the show is a lovely lady who was on X&C, Colt Eastwood's podcast this past week. I did recommend you to him because he wanted more female gamers on the show. And I said, the best that I know is the most clued up. And I wish we could have you as our correspondent. It's Eric Cutts for the win. Erica, how are you? So it's good to have you on it.
I'm good. It's good to be back. I did have a feeling you had something to do with me being on XNC. I appreciate that, though. It means a lot. And I had a good time over there. So shout out to Colt for having me on. And the communities that you both have, collectively and separately, are just really supportive. And so I want to say hi to the chat, and I hope you guys enjoy the show. I'm ready.
Oh, yes, let's go. Yeah, the chat, the community is amazing. I'm seeing loads of people, loads of members. Thank you so much for making the show what it is. It's because your positivity actually drives us. If it was a crap community, this show probably wouldn't last this long. So it's all thanks to you guys. But last but certainly not least is a man whose nerves are all over the place. If he starts resorting to having edibles and all sorts, we won't judge him because he's on the verge of a release of his own game. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Joe Winter, the developer behind Song of Iron. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me again. It was a blast last time. I'm happy to be back.
Oh, man, we're happy to have you, man. It's always lovely, and I mean it. I feel nervous for you. I'm not even joking. On Monday, I'm going to be watching those reviews because you're such a nice guy.
Man.
I hope Song of Iron smashes it. I hope it smashes it.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to distract myself until then, but
well, whilst you, in an attempt to try and distract you, let's talk about your game.
Let's talk about it. Perfect.
Yes.
So it was fundamental for us to get you on here. Not only just an opportunity. See, your game created waves. Your games naturally created waves because of how good it looked last year. And we've been charting your journey. Your name has been popping up everywhere. You're synonymous quite strongly with the Xbox community as well. I think they have been quite supportive of,
It's been absolutely amazing. Yeah, it's crazy how well they've picked me up, and everybody seems to just be purely rooting for me, and they just want to see cool games, and I'm doing my best to give them something, and hopefully we can have a wonderful friendship after this.
Gamers can be a
and all that.
relentless bunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah, no, it's
what's-
been amazing.
it's you know, there are a couple of ways. Sometimes there are indie developers people really latch onto because they're good personalities like you, but there are also games that stand out that immediately create that wave, positivity and general hype. You fall in both brackets because you're remiss to say you're a nice guy, but your game looks good as well.
Yeah, both.
So it's gonna be really interesting if your game sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it would be terrible. It would be really bad.
No.
Terrified.
I've played the game. I can't say much about it because embargoes are a thing, but no need to worry, man. The game looks, plays incredible. We don't do reviews here at GameOnDaily, so don't even think about accusing me of being biased. Can you even say that after yesterday's source video? No, you can't. But no, honestly, for people who don't know, because I'm going on like everyone knows what Song of Iron is, just because the community here most likely does, our members do, and shout out to the 90 people watching, spread the news, hit that like button, share it out. We're going to get into everything, but first and foremost, let's talk about the Song of Iron. If you were going to, look, you're a couple of days away from your game being released. Forget the core people. How would you market your game? If someone said to me, sell me on Song of Iron, what would you say?
The super fast way to do it is to compare it to a few games that I really love and that were massively inspirational to me. And the one that's on the top of that list is Inside. And I really wanted to. I love that game, and I very quickly thought, I wonder what that would be like, but with a Viking instead of a kid. And I love the mood and the pacing and the atmosphere of that game. And that's a perfect link to a Nordic world to me, and it all clicked right away, and so I went in full bore on that. You were just showing a little bit of the trailers, and the game always shows better than I could ever talk about it, and it's the bane of my existence is trying to do the elevator pitch. But it's a game that's really about, it's about a full experience. It looks like a button mash beat 'em up, but it really is made to be this bigger experience, but also combat. And you've mentioned this, before. The combat is fairly unique in that it's very physics based, while still sort of retaining a lot of the old school side scroller fighting mechanics. You're throwing axes, you're kicking, you're drop kicking if you jump in the air and do kicks. It's this really fluid and John Wick style kind of combat. I often describe it too as like a barroom brawl where you're breaking chairs over heads and then throwing bottles across the room. It's just sort of meant to be this no holds barred kind of brawl that is really dangerous, really fast, and then ends, and then you recover and pick up stuff that you might need. And it's turned into something that's really fun to play, and I've had great responses from demos and stuff, and just excited to get to it. But I always say watch the trailer because I can never do it justice trying to explain it.
Well, you can't do it justice where, a picture's 1,000 words, but a moving game is a lot more because we can get the feeling of it. When I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, it's positive stuff, but I had access to the beta, and the first thing you're always worried about is, well, the first concern for me was when I played Song of Iron, does it play how it looks? Does it feel how it looks? Yeah, and for me, it did. So,
that's
and I haven't played the latest one. The video is going to be out next week. We have a couple of videos, Psychonauts 2, as well as a Song of Iron video. Not a review, but a quasi review, just my impressions of it, and obviously be as honest as possible. Thing is, one good benefit of doing this is you get to know nice people. As reviewers, it gets a bit we don't do reviews, so I imagine it'll be difficult to park that objectivity to like a center. It's like, I like this guy, he's so good, I want his game to be good. Let me give it normally I would be harsh. Yeah. No, but I'll be honest with you, like you came up to me and said, how's that how's the game? And I'd have told you. If I gave you all this fluffy answer stuff, then it wouldn't have been useful. And Joe, just to I don't know. You don't know what the review of Beast is like if, God forbid, but if it doesn't do as well, do not be turned off
discouraged.
by it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, do not. You've got the skill set. You've made it here. You've garnered everyone's attention. So you are the marketing man. You say you can't say it, but your work does the talking. So
yeah. Thanks. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm always looking for feedback, and this is my first solo project like this. Like I've always been in a big company of some sort, so this is such a learning process. Assuming it doesn't literally sell like 4 copies, then there's going to be a part 2. And, I will take all of this learning, put it towards the next one. Hopefully this one, goes to the moon or whatever. But, just a little bit of success and I'll be back. So.
No.
And better.
I mean, I just want this game to do really, really well, man. You deserve it.
Appreciate it.
You deserve
Same. I'm rooting for it so hard.
Erica, the first time I had you on the show with Joe, because I'd seen you espouse about how much you like this game, so it was natural.
Yes.
What's your take on how Joe's game's turning out? This is a live review, ladies and gentlemen.
Live review. I haven't played it. I really wanted to mention right now, you bringing up Inside as a inspiration and how to compare it for those who don't know about it. I often compare this year to 2016 because the indies are just going crazy this year, just like in 2016, I felt. And that's when Inside released. So I just thought that was really cool. I just made that connection in my head. Like, no wonder. No, but I'm excited. I have such a love for indies. And when they have really interesting combat and has interesting themes and the look of it, yes, kind of like an Inside or something, interesting in that way. I saw that with your game. And so immediately I was like, okay, awesome. that's on my radar. You have a list in your head. So I've always been excited to play this game. And I was very happy to be here the first time. We kind of got to interview you and stuff. And now we're back kind of as a reunion today. So it's really, it's cool to be here. I'm excited. Yeah.
It's different. We're on the verge. The game is completed.
Yeah.
We were talking about it. It didn't even have a release date last time we talked.
Yeah.
I know. It was way out still. Yeah. I mean, it's like 3 days away. I'm hands off on most everything and just sitting here waiting. So
I don't know.
Yeah, it's torture.
It'll be over soon.
We're both there. Excited torture, but
absolutely. Asa, what's your take on Joe's game? Because they're a couple of days out. I'm doing the preview, but I want to know your thoughts on it because you have quite diverse taste in games. You stream all sorts of games. What about Joe's game? Be honest. Is that kind of your kind of game?
Absolutely. Yeah. So obviously, most of the information that we got of it came from Joe himself. Sitting here as well, I'm so glad that he's on camera because when you asked Joe to give his pitch of the game, you could just enthusiasm for it was oozing everywhere. And that's like, when you look in terms of like a creative person, that's probably the most important ingredient for a good game. So to see that is really reassuring. Obviously, the trailer's playing at the moment and it's a gorgeous game. And he's already said last time he was here, it's not going to be too difficult for me. So I'm absolutely playing this one.
You're right, Joe.
Is there an easy mode, Joe?
I was trying to get an easy mode in. I just kind of ran out of time. I think if people do struggle, like, and there's it's harder than people expect it, then I definitely want to get something in. And that might just be like a really hard for you to die kind of tweak, but it shouldn't be too difficult. It really shouldn't. The places
Erica loves hard games, though. Erica loves challenges.
It's not for me. I'm asking for Asa and the people.
You can kind of make it hard if you want to like style on enemies, which is the way to play it for sure, is to like try to play a beautiful game, if you will, and you can like have a lot of fun doing that. But you can also kind of like smash your way through if you need to, if things are too hard. So it kind of like it's like a balancing thing a little bit, but
the reason that I mentioned the difficulty though is when the game first kind of burst onto the scene, there was a fair amount of speculation that it was kind of a 2D Dark Souls, but you can tell last time around that's not really what you're going for, is it?
Definitely not what I'm going for. There's a few places where I almost like don't I try really hard to not let you get killed, even though it's like a really intense moment, because that ruins the flow of a moment. You know, like this is supposed to be that action shot. Last thing I want you to do is like trip and fall constantly as you're like trying to, you know, jump the Vin Diesel car or whatever it is. But you know, you don't want to mess those up. So
yeah. And shout out to Colt. Obi, I'll read your super chat in a bit because I'm gonna bring that into another conversation. Great super chat, by the way. And speaking of great super chats, my buddy, one of my best friends, Cole Eastwood, in the super chat drops a $5 super chat. He says, "We've all changed what makes a banger. Indies are ruling the industry right now. A great game is a great game." Joe, I asked you about this on Mav's show, Fun Speculation. Shout out to Mav, and it was a good time. This indie banner. It's changed. First, it was almost by core gaming circles, almost like a term of derision, and now that's completely abolished, in my opinion, from what I'm perceiving, and it's not just my feelings for indies, because everyone knows I like indie games, but it just seems like now people are more excited. Is that what you're seeing? That this kind of natural rebalance towards indie developers or indie games?
Yeah, I mean, the trend right now for sure is moving into a much more accepted thing. I mean, stuff like 12 Minutes and The Ascent and a few other games, Grime, which was just a PC, but that like did really well. It's just like these are legit games that are coming out and they're being made by 1 to 5 people. And it's hard to deny that they are legitimate games and they're games of quality and they, in their own ways, stand up to any other thing that's coming out. And I think... hopefully that trend continues because, I mean, they're so unique, some of these games that are coming out. And I think it's sort of amazing to remember that games can be these like very pocketed experiences. We're so used to just going all in on these like massive things. And that's one of the reasons, you know, I'm such a big fan of Journey and Inside and, you know, games like that, because you really can just play this experience, soak it in, and just like, and then you're done with it. You can walk away and you can reflect on it and stuff. And those, we need more of that. And I think we're getting a ton of that right now, and it's awesome.
We are. I think it's like that magic watershed moment for me, like with that indies thriving. I think, is it a case of the technology or the dev tools catching up to enable indie developers to more readily realize what they want their creations? Because it seems to me, I'm not a developer, but it seems like the tools are getting better, making it easier. No?
Yeah, it's definitely getting easier. I mean, without Unreal 4 and Blueprints, I would never have been able to create Song of Iron, no question. I needed that to be able. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I have a composer, and I have some sound design help. Other than that, it's all me. I'm the voice of the main character. My wife is the voice of the female version of the main character.
No way.
I mean, I had a buddy come over and record all the Vikings and you know, like that kind of stuff. All that stuff.
You can have me for that. I'm great for that.
So that was super fun. But I mean, that's kind of the world that I'm in. I mean, like the credits roll and it's just like made by Joe. And then it's like over in like 30 seconds, and it's super funny.
That's so awesome.
And of course, you know, there's
amazing.
It's been an awesome experience. But it's the tool, like you're saying, the tools are so good now, and I think a lot of indies in before the last couple of years were probably engineers first or very engineer minded, because they were able to then work with systems. But now I think we're seeing more and more artist driven indies. Not to say that one is better than the other, but it's a different avenue of stuff, and the artists are looking at it a different way, and so we're starting to see these different feeling and different style games. 12 Minutes is a great example. I mean, that is I haven't even played it, but just you can the reviews are good, and you can just by looking at it like this is a filmic feeling piece of art and then it's a game second in a lot of ways, and I think we're just going to keep seeing more and more of that. Even
Kojima had his eyes on it because of
he played and he liked it. He did. I saw that.
It's a crazy game, Joe. You got to play it. It's a trip.
Yeah, I'm excited. I have my list of games to play after this is growing by the day at this point. I can't wait to take it easy and grind through all these games that I missed.
Yeah, I mean, Song of Iron. So Song of Iron isn't on Xbox Game Pass. No.
Unfortunately.
Then how does that happen? The conversation. Have you tried to raise it? Do you want that to happen, or maybe you want to see the hard physical sales and then later on want it to go on Game Pass?
If it's a curated list for them, so they invite people to be part of it, and that's why it's
Okay.
pretty much the same number of games every month, give or take. And then there's that random like we're bringing this from forever ago game into Game Pass. But of course, I talk to them fairly often, so things come up, but you just never know until it happens. So
Yeah.
I would be super happy to launch with it. That didn't happen, so hopefully it does well. Again, it's like one of those things where I think at this point they'll wait and see how what the response is, and maybe there's a future conversation to have. I would love to be on it. I'm all for it. I think, especially as an indie, the exposure you get from Game Pass is massive. And anybody I've talked to or numbers I've seen from indies to big, it's just a success platform for the most part at this point, and so that's an easy yes for me. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I guess
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say
go.
the bright side of that, you get to see what it does without Game Pass. And if it does really good, it's like, wow. And then hopefully, like you said, you have that conversation and then it goes to even more hands,
Totally. Yeah. I think if it works out that way, it'll be the best of the options because I'll get the initial launch and then it's almost like a second launch. And so it'll, in theory can spike up again. And
it's like rejuvenated. Yeah.
I kind of like from the very beginning of development, they always say, an indie gets like maybe 2 hours of spotlight, and you just hope that enough people see it in that window. And having Game Pass would just be another one of those blips that hopefully, helps kick it up.
Yeah.
So.
You create your own blip though, which is no mean feat. So
trying,
well done for that. Because making buzzing it, it's good, man. That's really good. Say it succeeds, it smashes it. Do you have ideas for a sequel already? Because you touched upon that.
Yeah. I have a trilogy mapped out. I think it's the story. The story comes from a D&D campaign that I was playing in with some friends. We played in this house. You can tell how D&D centric this whole thing is, and that's like our D&D table against the wall right now.
Oh, wicked.
But there was just this really goofy thing that we kind of played through, and there was a serious tone to it, to a little string of it, and I latched onto that. And it's pretty much the story of Song of Iron, and this is really only part 1 of 3. And hopefully, I think we should be good to make it. That's my plan. Like I said, I'd have to sell only a couple copies to stop that, but hopefully that. And if it does well enough, I want to bring a few people on, not a ton, just a little bit to make, so I can spend more time on animation, so we can spend more time on effects, just make each one of these little elements that I'm kind of running around between that much better by having a little bit of focus between a few people. But I never want to get too big. I never want to be the boss of a studio. I want to be I want to make the game. That's why I'm here and doing the indie thing. So. 1 or 2 more people, something like that.
That's awesome.
Remember,
audio just ties in with what Thomas Seller was saying on Twitter today. So he said exactly the same thing. Like, there's an expectation that if you start a studio like you have essentially on your own to be creative and make a game, an expectation that if you're successful, you'll then go on to build a team and lead them. And that's the opposite of what he wants. He's going to be creative forever. And you're essentially saying the same thing there. So, good.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, way down the line, who knows? I get bored of that and I want to do something else. But I've done leadership stuff. I was the lead animator for Halo, which I'm sure we'll talk about. I always do a little bit, but on the enemies. And so, there's good and bad stuff to that, but I definitely, my heart is in the creative side and the building of things. So I never want to leave that.
If you need an audio person, I can scream very well.
That's good.
That's my audition. Shout out to our buddy Safe. He would happily do it for you, and he is so talented. He's going to get taken over. If you ever need an audio guy, he would just do it for free. Yeah, I sold you out. Hoggy Channy, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. He goes, indies in stark contrast to AAA take way too long. I think you mean AAA's way take too long. Large number of devs. Okay. Is it even possible to expect what we had in the 360 gen? With full trilogies within a gen like Gears, Mass Effect, Bioshock. So this whole thing about budgets. Eric, I want to
Hey.
ask you that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it. Yeah, go.
Because Erica's looked like she was thinking, pondering something.
I was pondering because I saw the Gears, I saw the Mass Effect, so they're talking triple A's, right?
Yeah.
So they're kind of considering like a new IP
Yeah.
doing well enough to have that trilogy. I think it could still happen. Like I think about games like Ghost of Tsushima. I feel like that could get a sequel, but they do take long. You know, the budget and just by looking at the game, you can tell like this is years and years of working on these games. So I think it's still possible though, and hopefully to that standard, you know, with the Mass Effects and the BioShocks and everything that stood out last or 2 gens ago now. Yeah, I think it still can happen.
I hope so.
It
I hope
can,
so
and it's
too.
fairly
What's your
inevitable.
take?
I think AAA games now are done so much by formula. The only reason that we've had a disruption in the trilogies is the last year off. So the average AAA game, they know exactly how long they're going to take. They know how long it's going to be. They know how long to pace between enemy encounters. It's all a formula, which isn't so to be like too disparaging. There is talent within the AAA space as well. I'm not saying they're all terrible, but yeah, they're going to churn them out just as they always have.
Let me add real quick, because to clarify, they did say in 1 gen. So now I understand the question. Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe over a couple gens, yeah.
They're quite formulaic, like Asa says. What about you, Joe? What do you think about the notion of that? I mean, draw comparisons with an indie. Obviously, slightly different. Very different.
Yeah, I mean, the pace of AAAs recently, some of the bigger ones, have been really slow. I mean, like Forbidden West and Halo, as an example. I mean, we're talking like monster 5-year kind of gaps in them. And I really don't understand it. I mean, I think there's obviously you're going to run into some difficulties, and as you convert over to a new generation, you sort of like halfway through start developing for a new system, which is going to have tools. So they're understandable kind of like holds up and delays, and then obviously COVID really kind of put a wrench in everybody's party.
Yeah,
that's the new phrase, I guess.
Wrench
in your party.
Wrench in your party. I don't know what kind of parties you're going to.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's definitely. I feel like we should be able to be making games faster. I mean, it's obviously hard, and you're going to run into some issues. But to the question, I mean, those games did come out like on 2-year cycles pretty consistently for quite a long time, and we've added complexity, but we've also added tools that make things easier to do. I think there's a tendency for studios to try to make, and you'll hear it all the time in marketing, like the biggest world ever or the greatest this ever. And that is just a massive waste of time, because that does not make a game better. Like it never ever has, and I don't think it ever will. And a comparison I like to bring is like, you know, like Battlefield's got like 10,000 players per server now or whatever it is. And I guarantee you the game will come out and it will be extremely squad focused. So it'll be really pushing you into these little small groups. And then there'll be so many objectives, you'll only ever run into 2 other squads or something, right? So like the entire purpose of the media campaign of it will not be what the game actually is. Because the game will actually just be a big map with lots of little groups, right? Like there won't be 100 on 100 line of, you know, World War II or like, you know, musket fires, you know, that kind of stuff. That's what you're thinking when they say a 250 person server. It's not. I could be wrong, but traditionally they say that, and then the game is something else. So it just feels like a lot of wasted effort in a lot of ways, and that's slowing down for no good reason.
That's so true. With there was it's annoying me now. Asa, you may know what I'm talking about. There was that first person massively multiplayer online like shooter by Sony that just went down by the wayside.
The 250 versus 256 or whatever it was. No, that was a PlayStation.
Oh, I remember that. That's from forever ago. Yeah.
No, there was another one, a futuristic one on PC. Loads of players.
Something World or PlanetSide? PlanetSide. That's it. PlanetSide. And the same thing happened there. You had loads of players on one map, but the skirmishes only involved about 3, maybe 4 squads. Yeah.
Even though sometimes it goes crazy. But the scale...
I kind of get what you guys are saying, because like with Battlefield, they kind of show it as like all these people running into each other and clashing, like boom, you know, and you do have your 4-person squads that kind of find and pick off maybe 1 or 2 people here and there. And sometimes there are those moments where it's like you're looking at a wall of people and you're on this side, they're on that side, which is what I really love about Battlefield. I'm looking for those moments. But traditionally, and most of the time, it's like you're finding 1 or 2 people and then moving on to the next one person, so it's the way it is marketed, though. It's like this huge, big thing, which does happen technically, but you're not going to see it every time. Yeah.
For me, it's a little bit of a tangent actually, but I'll say it anyway. So Battlefield for me, the more players you have in a game like that, the less impact you have personally, the less your contribution matters. So it becomes like winning and losing is a dice roll. You can play really well and lose, and you can play really badly and win because there's a whole load of other players playing as well. So it gets a bit strange like that. But...
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Shout out to Obi-Wan with a $5 super chat. He says, "You got this, Joe. The community's behind you. I'm eager to get my hands on the game. Also, Joe, how about that Halo co-op? For the people who don't know, you actually former 343. You were their lead animations artist.
Lead animator on the character team, which is all the enemies.
Okay. So, okay, I'm not trying to get in trouble here. You've been there. You presumably worked on Halo Infinite before you moved on?
Correct. Yeah, I started maybe a year and a half before 5 launched, worked through 5, and then I was there until December this year, and I left at the end of the year. So, 4 years of Infinite or something.
Yeah, 4 years of Halo Infinite. So you presumably have good colleagues and people you work there. You don't really care about because you're going to be very ruthless right on this show about what's happening.
The tell-all.
The tell-all.
Well, you want the source? Let's go into the source. Yesterday I made a little short skit, just kind of ruffle some feathers, but also kind of double down on my view on what's happening with the Halo Infinite. Asa shirks away thinking, oh my god, I have nothing to do with this. Please do not throw stones at me. So please don't throw stones at him. The views are all my own. But I was a bit scathing of Halo. And, there's a bit of, not guilt, but, there are good people working in the background. And when I say the game sucks, or you suck, or someone needs to change 343, I haven't actually ever said Bonnie Ross needs to get fired or something stupid like that, because that's actually, I think people say that and that's fine. I think it's a bit insulting because you do not.
It's too hard to know.
Yes, we do not know. Yeah, exactly. But. Hey, this is my beloved franchise, and you've taken it on. You've taken on the mantle of responsibility, and you've been benefiting from the hype. You're going to get a lot of money from us, 343. And then the Halo K-op thing delayed, and I think we talked about this before on Math's show. But Joe, my view is that a game that suffers this massive delay has been worked for so long, and then just a few months before launch announces that one of its fundamental features, do not downplay that. Joseph Staten says that himself. It's fundamental. He puts in the same breadth as multiplayer, although obviously it's not exactly 1-to-1. What's your take on that? What's your take on the fact that there is no co-op? Because you're a Halo fan as well.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It definitely was the way that I played a number of the campaigns. When I first did it, it was always like me and my brother playing and stuff. And so that's, in a lot of ways, to me, co-op is the initial playthrough of Halo. And so that's just the way I think about it a lot. So I totally understand, why some people are like super upset. I mean, to them, it is like multiplayer because that's the way they enjoy it, right? So I think the upsetness from some people is totally justified. I think people need to maybe let them be upset and just know that the game's still going to come out and be okay with that too. And it's okay for someone to be mad. You don't have to be mad at them being mad necessarily, right? Like, I think because it's on the Halo side, it's unfortunate because it means a lot to me, the co-op. They definitely shouldn't delay it for that because there's it's this monstrous train and you can't stop it really at this point. And they did it once and it's going to be much better for it. And it'd be so bad for them to do it again. I think.
Why do you think it'd be bad if they did it again?
I mean, just, there's it's more than just this game and like players, it's this massive machine, marketing machine. And then you have deals with any from the smallest person that's getting a code to stream it early to, the most, I don't know, to like 7-Up and these big industries that are doing marketing campaigns. And it's just not, it's so hard to change course on something that's this big. I mean, I think like when we delayed,
it would be hard.
Yeah, logistically it's monster. Like when we delayed the first time, there was these Mountain Dew cans that had like codes that expired like 3 weeks later on them because they expected them to be out. And it was like, yeah, have fun with that a year later when it, but it's like, that's the sort of stuff that those things just had to still go out, like all that Mountain Dew thing or whatever it was. I'm probably messing up the thing, but it's just like, so it's painful. And we hate the live service thing for whatever reason, but like they're like, we're still going to make this. We're really sorry, and I believe them. And it's not like they're not trying. I think I said it on Maz's show. It's like there's definitely like 3 or 4 engineers just like grinding, trying to change their minds and say like, I can make it. I guarantee you they're there, and just someone has to go. It's too risky to let this out in its current state. So this far ahead, we're going to say it's not there, so we can properly do this other stuff and then do this the right way. The last thing you want them to do is to force it out and make a shortcut that's really hard for them to fix once they won't do it the right way. That's, I think, what happened with Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk kept doing those mini delays, and that is murder on devs. I mean, it's murder because it's like if you give me 2 days to fix a problem, right? I'm going to do the thing that takes 2 days. And if you gave me a week, I would do a different thing because I had extra time. But if you after the 2 days say you get 3 more days, it's like I can't go back. I don't have a week. I needed a week for the other version. Yeah. You've given it to me in these little pieces. I already made the shortcut, right? Like, so that's a mistake I think people make a lot, and it's better to let things like let them push it off and fix it the right way, because you don't want it the wrong way. It literally will double the time it takes to make the version you actually want.
Okay, so that's a big point in terms of technically why you don't want to delay something like that. Okay,
definitely you don't want to force something in too. Like, there's probably like we haven't heard it yet, but this is like, it's okay, put the kind of broken version in and like keep fixing it, but it's like it'll be really broken probably, and then it'll take longer for the good version to come out. So let them. They're making that choice because they think it's the best. So it's unfortunate, of course, but it's you got to trust them that they're doing their best.
Yeah, and just to clarify to everyone, I'm not axing people or that. I'm kind of, you can understand my trepidation. 343 have been inconsistent, and I could sit there with Bonnie Ross, and you want to say things in a way that you can hold up. If you have a face-to-face conversation, I don't want to be two-faced and say something on a blog and then be very shy about it in person. So whatever I say, I want to be able to say in front of people. That's kind of my principle. So if Bonnie Ross was here, I would say, look, it's a bit disappointing. You guys have, kind of flopped quite a few times. So you're understandably worried. That's why you want, and I want Halo to do well, which is why I want it delayed. I want it to review well, because I really like Halo. And I think that will make it harder. People will look at excuses for that. It comes from that kind of position of passion as well. But you make a good case, Joe. And I don't have developer insight into it, and if that kind of thing is there, we don't have no insight, no matter how transparent you say 343 have been. But they have. But relative to the specifics of what's happening with co-op, they haven't actually told us that much. But give them the benefit of the doubt. If you want, fine. That's what you've just told me. There makes more sense than half the nonsense some of the people are saying is there's time to release the game. 12% of people only play co-op.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, those are the worst arguments to me. Is the 12% stuff? It's like that. I mean, understandably, that's why they're choosing that thing over something else. But it's like forgetting that people are like, I don't care about that because my 2 features are in, and it's like, that's why I'm mad. It's because one of my 2 features are not in. And I think we're just as like a human, we're just like not being empathetic to people who care about Halo from that perspective. So I think it's good to remember that your Halo is not my Halo, and that's okay. But I'm upset currently because I don't have my Halo.
That's true.
I'm clipping that and sharing that around.
Maintain context. Maintain context.
Oh man, that's perfect response. Erica, am I crazy? You saw my source video. Clearly, I am a bit mad in my head. But what is your view on all this?
I mean, whatever you're feeling, it's causing great content. That was a great video. I was laughing at that video. No, I feel you, and it's kind of what I'm thinking right now is just a mix of what you guys are saying. It's like you hear Joe's side of it. He's got the insider kind of developer know-it-all, right? And he knows that like something we're saying like you guys, you're over there saying I want it to bake longer, right? It needs to be in the oven longer. But then Joe's kind of pointing out, well, there's already something in the oven because it's meant for this time frame, and now it's like too late kind of thing. Like it's cooking, you know? So it makes sense. And that's why I like to hear from people like Joe who have experience and understand it. Because I always think to myself, to be fair, I try and put emotion aside, like, okay, whatever I feel, I don't really know because I'm not there. I don't know what's going on at 343. So sometimes it's hard to comment on this stuff, especially since I'm not like the biggest Halo fan. So I kind of try and look at both sides and understand that, look, I don't know what it's like to be a developer. I don't know what it's like over there. There's things we don't know. And so that's why I think it's refreshing to talk to Joe and kind of understand. So maybe that'll help you, Gaz, and everyone else who's kind of like, delay it. But there's like, there's more to it, you know? So it makes sense. I
just want it to do well. I really do want, it would make me so happy. And I'm not saying it's going to be a bad game. And people are saying, oh, wait till it bangs, then what? I'm like, did I say it's going to be terrible? Well, actually, I do say I've lost confidence in the studio, so I'm a little bit worried. But what I've seen of the multiplayer is amazing. I need to see a little bit more campaign. I'm a bit worried about that. Not to the point where I'm going to be like, oh, no, you have to show something now. There may be reasons not to show it because, you know, Halo's campaign is a sensitive little beast. But I do want it. You're right, Erica. I just want it to be.
I feel you on that. Like, I'm the same way with franchises I love. It's like you just want it to do well, and the perception, you want it to be good, and you know you want all of it.
Everything.
Yeah.
Same way I want Joe's game to do well. Yeah.
Right.
Curious for you though, Gaz. If they had come out and gone the other way and said, "Hey, we had a year's delay. It's not ready. We're going to delay it another 3 months." Would you say that would make you feel more confident in 343? You and other people that are floundering on confidence in a way.
Well, yes and no. Yes. Well, more. We always say delayed game can be better. You know, that's Shigeru Miyamoto quote that's been.
A bad game is bad forever. A delayed game is bad. Yeah,
exactly. Which a lot of people seem to have forgotten about conveniently. But
that's from before the internet, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true. But no, I'll be yes in the sense that just give them more time. That just by virtue of them having more time, chances are it will be better. But then, as I'm saying that, what you've just said, Joe, about having that definite timeline and giving extra time, like these little mini sprints, call them sprints. These mini sprints don't help. Cyberpunk is a key example of that. So now that's playing in my head because you've actually educated me on that, and I think you're right. That could be a problem. So yes, good, get more time. No, what happened to? You guys are a big studio with big budget. You can't plan. Like, this, you're managing expectations. Things are going wrong as well for you to have failed to match the time limit again. It's never straightforward. I'm sure 343 want this more than we do to work. And I recognize that. I'm not being harsh. But, come on, you have to swim in the sauce.
You just love Halo. It's okay,
It is.
I get it.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, you want something that you love to be good. So there is a fine line of kind of holding their feet to the fire when you feel like they're taking something in the wrong direction or not doing justice to it. And then there's letting them try to figure it out because they're clearly trying to, and they want to do it well too. Like being there's a huge studio. There's tons of people who absolutely love Halo and want Halo to be the best game of all time, and they're working hard, I promise, to do that. And
Yeah.
we'll get what we get in the end. And I've been gone long enough now that I don't know much of what's going on anymore, but you know.
I like the expression of holding their feet to the fire, though, because there's a very real possibility that what they deliver in December could be objectively like the biggest, most content-filled game of the last couple of years. And you consider like Ghost of Tsushima as one of the games of the year last year. Had co-op added later, it had a single-player mode, and everybody loved it. 343 are in a position where they could deliver something objectively better. I'm not saying that they will, that's not my argument here, but they could deliver something absolutely incredible, and people would be unhappy. And a lot of those same people would also complain that reviewers are too harsh on Halo. It's kind of funny. Like,
It's interesting.
I know there's definitely like people want to defend something that they love, kind of against maybe the truth of it, even if it's just a subtle, like giving it an 8 when it should be a 7 or whatever it might be. Yeah. But it's important that the studios understand how good the game actually is, like very accurately, so that they can make changes. Like if Halo's a 5, which it won't be, and we all tell them it's a 10 because we just want it to be, they won't fix it the next time. And so it's very important to just be honest, give clean and nice feedback, and then they'll read it and they won't just brush off stuff, and then they can continue to make it better. 5 got way better. If people kept playing it, for anybody who continued to play 5 multiplayer continued to improve. I think the entire score of Halo 5 went up like 1.5 points or something, like over the first year of development, because there was so much went into making it better, making what people wanted, it's because good feedback comes in. And so I guarantee you they'll be trying to do that. Even if it comes in a little lower than we want, it'll get better because they'll keep going.
Especially as a game as a service, there's a lot of scope there for it to change and morph into something better. And how they handle that content.
Right? Song of Iron 2, bit of co-op.
We'll see, maybe.
Don't promise anything because
it's such a massive increase. Yeah, I promise nothing. There will be Vikings and axes. That's all I'll tell you.
Would you ever? Because there's always this scene like indies 2D, like this is an old school kind of
pretty common thing, yeah.
Yeah, like 2D thing. Would you ever think of Song of Iron 3D? Would that be like the apex, or not? Yeah,
it'd be interesting. I could see doing like a game type change for like a one-off story, like an ODST kind of feel. Like if I get to a point where I'm like, okay, now that I've done the trilogy, where do I go? I definitely could see trying something like that. I think it could be really cool. It would be an interesting choice to change like mid-series, and now we're a shooter, or crazy. It's like, where are we going? This is changed. Exactly, first person. So it would really depend on the response. I think what it does is makes development a little bit simpler so that I can make it. As I think I've talked a few times about, I kind of made these pillars for myself so I could actually finish a game, no multiplayer, side scrolling, and a few other little things, and that just makes it an achievable thing for me so that I can get the game out. And so
so let's just see. Third person Song of Iron actually sounds mad. I'm
could be really cool.
God of War, for some reason.
Yeah, almost, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Blue Boy Var says, with the £5 super chat, thank you so much. He says, for me, Halo isn't Halo without co-op. Makes me wonder how the game would have looked last year. Still can't wait to play Infinite, though, on my Series X. And it's a valid question. It's a valid question, man. Joe, what... And I'm going to get Erica, your view on this as well. What do you think would have got last year? Isn't that a bit weird? If this is fundamentally missing co-op.
Just for context, can you give us a little bit of timing? When did you leave that studio?
I left in December, so a month and a half after Craig was revealed, I think, give or take, whenever that video came out. I think E3 then was kind of late in the year, if I'm remembering right. Or that show, whichever show that was. Craig, that's how I'm marking my time. How long since Craig?
How long since Craig?
How long since Craig? So it's, I think... Yeah, I basically, December 31st was my last day. So 8 months now? Yeah, about 8 months, 8.5 months. So much can happen now. That's ages. Yeah.
That's a long time in game development circles.
I think it's hard to say exactly what would have come, but the full year delay tells you a lot probably about how there was the correct response from the fans, I think, and they were then able, the people who knew or suspected had the ammunition to get the year. Is kind of how I suspect that ended up happening. Because I think that wasn't announced until after I left, if I remember right. But there was enough response that they were able to get the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Z Black Rider with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. He says, for Joe, how big was the team dedicated to the Master Chief collection? Do you know?
I actually don't know. That was going on around when I just joined on 5, so my what I could see in the studio started very small, and not until towards the end was I fully aware of everything kind of happening. But I really don't know. And they were separate from us, or they were like, there was 2 buildings at the time. We were in the old Bungie building, and then we had this like spillover office that I was in, so it was a little separated from it.
Yeah. Well, sorry, we don't know the answer to that, but it's a good question because I know what you're alluding to there. John Sicaro, thank you so much for the £4.49 super chat. He says, the last time I spat everywhere. The last time I was this upset is when iPhone took away the auxiliary port.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry, Jar. Just to double back on what Blue Boy Vass was saying without co-op. A lot of people are like, it's not a big deal, but Halo Infinite's gameplay reveal, everything lends itself well to a co-op experience with the semi-open world gameplay. No, Erica? Like, do you not think... Did you think, or... Because I've seen your Twitch videos. You play a lot with your friends. Do you do a lot of co-op? Do you think Halo Infinite gameplay kind of screamed co-op to you?
Yeah, I mean, it did in the past. I ran Halo 4 co-op. I don't do too well with, like, first-person campaigns. I can get a little motion sick at times, so I don't play them a lot. And it's kind of the main reason I didn't play a lot of Halo single players because of that. But if I could stomach it, I would definitely run some co-op because it to me, Halo, I don't know if it had to do with like my less experience with it because I played Gears more and that was kind of like my game. And then when it came to Halo, it was like everyone else's game. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll play with you, and they'll kind of bring me along and help me understand their love for it. And I just think that was like a good experience. And I would like to do that again. So when I heard, the co-op wasn't going to be there at launch, I thought, wow, that's big because I know people for a fact only do co-op and that's what they look forward to and they're disappointed. So I feed off of that and I totally get it because like if it was Gears and that wasn't there, I would be like, what is going on? That's worrisome. So I kind of relate to it in that way of like, I get it. It makes sense because it's like you said, fundamental. It's like part of Halo and what makes it what it is, and your memories and your nostalgia and you're just like, what's going on? So I, as an outsider, I guess, even though I do play the multiplayer mostly, I totally was like, wow, that's a miss.
It's a huge
it should be
because I want to play with Colt. Me and Colt were talking about doing co-op together. Such a blow. That'd just be so much fun. I was just looking forward to the day. I'm still gonna book days off work and just do that. Can't do that, but play Halo. But still, it is definitely a blow, and I think most people should recognize that, even though they don't play it co-op. At least appreciate that.
Empathize a little, like we were saying,
Yeah, some people drew comparisons. They said, because I've gone and said Battlefield doesn't need single player. So that's me saying, oh, well, you're being a bit of a hypocrite there. Why are you saying that? But name me one person that really likes Battlefield's campaign, apart from the Bad Company games. Has there been a good...
Oh, I love Battlefield campaigns, just to make sure that you look like an absolute hypocrite.
But no, you're on to the right. That's where I would think, because it's not known for Battlefield. When you think of Battlefield, you're thinking of multiplayer.
It didn't even have it when the first few games came out. Battlefield
that's
1,
the
2,
meat and potatoes, exactly. So it's different. It's not the same.
They also didn't announce it after saying they were going to have it.
Right.
Is the true difference? I mean, like people saying like we don't just want this, we want both. Is a total easy call for people for Battlefield, but had they announced it and said, like, could you imagine if they're like Bad Company 2 is coming back and they're like, no, we're not doing the campaign, never mind. It would be volcanoes would be erupting, you know what I mean?
100%.
So
that's a good point.
But
yeah.
I mean, but there's like with the co-op, there I guarantee you there are people who love the campaigns for whatever, that's their thing, and they're probably very upset, and understandably.
Yeah, no, fair enough. No, absolutely. There's another super chat directed towards you. Arodimus, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He says, I wonder what Joe's thoughts are on the reaction to the campaign reveal from the public last year. What did you think of that? Because you said that chances are they know what... No, you asked, actually. You said, the important thing is does the studio know how good its game is? Yeah, so what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I didn't disagree with the reactions, and I think Craig kind of was like the fun cherry on top of that, and Xbox did a great job of making that into a fun little thing. Honestly, I can tell you that I didn't have the rigs yet for the faces, so they were just like, that's why. I mean, they were literally just stiff faces. Yeah, no, but I mean, it's just like that stuff you don't know, and there's always, like, if you screenshot it close, you can find plenty of fun stuff. But but that's why Craig exists, at least, and he's phenomenally better now, I promise. But it's tough. I mean, there's 500 some people. Everyone they'd rate a different thing at the time, and I think management's always really hopeful that things are going well, and some people think that it's going well, other people don't, and sometimes you need a response, because we're inside a bubble. No matter what we do, even if we try to test it, statistics and responses and surveys can be pushed to feel a certain way. No matter how good the survey is, you can make it what you need it to be, and it's good to know, because some people just didn't know, and they clearly do now, and so they made the change. So. Yeah, it's hard to, there's not like a hard thing there.
Yeah, I think Colt was saying this to me. He's like, how good is it that the reveal happened the way it did? Because the game could have been way worse for it. So, yeah, no, it's a good super chat. Good question. Hungry, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. He goes, will Xbox show the Halo campaign before launch? Yes, they will. They've confirmed that they will. How close to it? I don't know, but they definitely will. And they have to. But, yeah, they will. John Mitchell, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. No co-op is disappointing, but I always play the campaign myself, then I play with friends later. I understand that because Halo's campaign is intimate. Some people feel like they really are Master Chief, then they just want to go through the motions themselves, not without your friends nattering. Even though I like to play co-op primarily, there's always the whole shut up. Something's happening. So there is that point.
It's all about bombing around in the Warthog with your buddy driving, right? And just mayhem. Yeah.
Oh man, this is how I enjoyed Halo 1 from day zero. It was amazing. And I get it, you can play it later, but it's not the same, because if you experience this, for me, it's experiencing those moments together with friends. It's like I can sit there and play it on my own and feel a certain way and have my moisturizing lotion, that's a bit weird, on the side. Whoa. Or I can have my friends there, talk about it, have fun, they form an opinion on things. The enjoyment gets enhanced as well, but the impact of the narrative can get diluted if you've got other people nattering on, not maybe even having the same viewpoints as you have generally on a lot of things. So, but it's I get
in the end it'll be okay, hopefully, all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's hope. Is this taking away the excuse now? Is there more pressure for Halo? Because my view is, all right, you've taken that and delayed it. Now it better be good. Am I unreasonable to have that demand, Erica, to say, now you have no excuse. The campaign better smash it. Multiplayer better be sick. No problems day one. I want a smooth experience. Am I a piece of for asking that?
Nice use of the bleep there. That's a tough question. I'd want Joe to answer this too, but I guess I guess I'm just kind of with you on that. Like, I've been there. I've had games I'm really looking forward to, and then they're delayed, or you don't hear about them. I don't know if I'd go that far to be like, oh, it's got to be amazing, or it's just horrible. You're just like, black or white. It's like, no, I think most of the time I'm okay with delays because I'm thinking of it like, well, they're going to polish it, they're going to make it better. Yeah, it sucks. We have to wait. But to me, like, time just flies so fast. I don't even think I'm like phased by delays anymore. It's like, well, it'll be here. You know, it'll come as long as it's good. There's a lot of stuff out there. Yeah, there's so many games to play. I guess I'm just in that zone right now, so I'm not so hardcore like, oh, I need it now. It's like I'm okay with waiting. Yeah, these days.
So, but does that excuse them for not having a multiplayer that doesn't work well? For instance, like the bugs with 343, or
like you're saying,
added pressure. Is that added
pressure to launch without problems? I guess.
Yeah,
I would assume. Yeah, they've had. All eyes are on them now. You've had this year to make it better. If it launches and the servers are completely dead and it's just not working and it's buggy, then the fans are gonna come down on them. It's added pressure, I would say.
Yeah, no, definitely. And Hogreed's right in the chat. He says it's Halo, so it's always held to a high standard.
That too.
Yeah, agreed. We've talked about Halo for quite a lot. I think it's a symptom of Joe being here, being former 343. Me in my source video, and also because it's still dominating a lot of discussions between my friend circles or core gaming circles. But let's talk about what's actually been happening this week as well. And then in the end, I want to double back on Song of Iron as well, because the game is out. We've got a game dev here who's lovely. Game dev has worked his ass off. I'm sure he doesn't want to talk about everyone else's games. It's just not his own. Yeah, but it's really cool to get like you on here to talk about other stuff. It's so cool.
I love games. I mean, I'm a gamer, right? And I'm that first before anything else. And so I love the insight. I love when I got to learn it. I always really appreciated it because it gave me a different perspective. And so happy to return the favor, I guess.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to get your view on things. So I want to talk about Gamescom. Gamescom happened and reception was well. So I thought, you know what, after being so negative about Halo, I'll be positive. And I said, I think Gamescom's going to be incredible, the Xbox show. And slapped to the face, it was, in my view, so like, just pointless almost, the point. Like, they showed games, but the format, everything. I actually fell asleep, so maybe take it with a pinch of salt. Because I was in party chat with Acer and Cole. And I woke up 30 minutes later, and Cole was like, "Where did you go?" I was like, "I was here, just sleeping." That's not a good sign. But when I woke up, people told me I didn't miss anything. But the next day, there were a lot of game reveals and a lot of interesting stuff, a lot mix of really good indie titles and some really impressive titles. I want to go through talking about that. On chat, do let me know what your thoughts were on Gamescom generally. But I'm going to talk about specific games. Let's go bounce out to games from game, and let's get everyone's impressions on it, because there's some really cool games on this. There's one game that looks so weird, yet because it's so kiddie, yet I think you know which one I'm going to go to, Erica. It's the graphics were amazing, but it's like so like kiddie. And do you want to guess what game I'm talking about?
I always have to remind myself what it's called, and a couple clicks later I will find it. Doke V?
Yeah, that's
I think it's pronounced.
That looks so cool.
That game was funny because I streamed the Gamescom show and I reacted and like had my chat and everything. And at first I was kind of like teasing it. Like, what is this? You know, this song, it's goofy, whatever. But the more you watch it and you see the graphics and you see what's going on, you're like, wow, this might not be so much of a joke after all. Like, this kind of looks cool. I don't know what's happening, but it looks interesting. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, that was one that stood out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Joe, have you seen Doke V? Like,
yeah, this is one of the things that I took the most note of. I think it's just like it is all over the place in the best way as possible. Right. I think. I mean, the animation. Well, it's clearly mocap, but it's like so involved. I'm so curious how big this world really is because it's so intricate. Like the kids running around in the circle and like a little conga line, and then just all the stuff we're seeing on screen now, and it's bonkers. And I mean, it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. Whatever that is, I don't know yet necessarily, but like, it's just so wild. And I think I'm always open to weird stuff like this. So happy to see it.
Man, like, I didn't think. See, this kind of game invoked feelings in me, like like confusion but wonder. Graphics are amazing. It's like, what the hell is this game? It looks fun. It has almost that Nintendo kind of ingenuity behind it. But the same with the visual art style. I mean, Colt were like, yeah, but it looks like a kid's game. Look at the characters, man. You're gonna really play this with a straight face. But at the same time, it's like, it looks so much fun. And it's so weird. This game, Asa, I can't see you playing this game, Asa. Am I being judgmental? But this looks weird. Look at it.
Yeah,
I mean,
not
even
because of
Look
the
at
art
those
style, though.
jorts.
look at this.
It's the fact that you have no idea what this game is, because it was initially being developed as an MMORPG, and they pivoted away from that at some point. But what did they pivot to? I've got no idea. I don't know what's happening.
It looks so good. Look, it's so good. This is a next gen title. This looks amazing visually, like Pixar level. Like, I was shocked. Like, we were watching it, we're talking, and everyone just stopped naturally. Wait, what the hell are you looking at? So we initially were like, some kids game. We're like, this is an insight into, maybe we should do live streams so people would see. We're like, wait, what the hell is going on? And look at that. Just look at the visuals, man.
It's crazy.
It's probably one of my games of the show, but I have no idea what this game is. So,
Definitely unexpected. Yeah.
yeah, we need more of this, though, no, Joe? Like, But graphically, when are we going to see more titles that look visually like that impressive? Because I'm not seeing that many like next gen titles. If you you can count them on one hand almost, no? Like this looks comprehensively good, like so good that I think, is this real? But you mentioned the animations are clearly mocap.
Yeah, I'm asking myself the same question. I mean, I think it's real, but there's some things that are so detailed, like the longboard walk that we saw at some point. That is so intricate that it feels canned, like that they just did that for a trailer. But I mean, I could be totally wrong. Lighting, I don't know what engine this is on, but if it was on Unreal 5, I wouldn't be surprised, or Unreal just in general. That's like definitely ray trace lighting, and we're able to push this global illumination stuff, which is making games like that and a few others feel beyond real compared to where we've been. And so we're going to see more and more and more of that. Yeah, Wukong kind of has some of those similar traits, and
Wukong,
I think we're going to see a lot more of this stuff for sure. And I love that it's stylized and super good looking. I think that's one of the things that we conflate too much is to like one thing, and seeing this be super good looking and super friggin' bonkers is wonderful.
You're right in highlighting that, actually, because my initial skepticism was rooted in that. The fact that the game looks visually nice, because it's stylized so much, it's throwing me off. Maybe I should drop my pretenses then, accept the fact that a highly stylized, a game can have this kind of raw visual fidelity. But there are not many games like that, so you can excuse me for thinking that.
Yeah, totally. I think, and then the ones that do exist, like Ratchet and Clank, if you didn't already have the context, you'd probably have a similar initial feeling, right? Like, this is like a very cartoony game. It's like, but you already know it, so you're there for it. We could definitely use more of that. More Wind Wakers, more super stylized but AAA games.
Yeah, see, this is why we were relying on indies to deliver on that front, because big AAAs rarely tend to do that. So that's why indies are killing it for me, because I'm all about that. I'm all about the stylized stuff. Oh, it's like stylized stuff, but raw visual fidelity. Melding the two is very rare, but it's great to see that happen. Yeah. We saw a lot of that in the show. Bus Simulator. Okay, let's not talk about Bus Simulator. Let's talk about. So Saints Row was a big one. I don't know if you ever played Saints Row, Joe. Are you a big Saints Row fan?
I played it. Some buddies of mine worked on like the second one, so I got my hands on it. But I probably was more a GTA person at the time, just because that was my first version of that. I know it's a little bit wackier than GTA, but I love those games, that genre. It's so fun to just bomb around a city and do whatever you want. So it feels like a blast from the past that it's coming back, but I'm for it. If people are looking for it, hey, go for it.
People are. There's some mixed lukewarm response from some people. Others are a bit concerned. But Erica, what's your view? Did you ever play Saints Row?
I played the fourth one, I think.
Okay. That was pretty the
Yeah,
wacky one, isn't it? With
it
the
was
dildos and
pretty
all that stuff,
wacky,
right?
yeah, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was different. It was, to me, it was like GTA, but really goofy and really
Really goofy,
kind of out
yeah.
there, outside the box. And so this one, at first, I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was some
Yeah.
kind of Ubisoft game or something. I remember making that comment. And then I saw that character who's on the screen, I think. I was like, she kind of looks like me a little bit. I was like, oh, they took
Yeah,
my
it actually does.
took my likeness. Yeah, I was like, who's this? You know? And we were just, me and my chat were kind of making jokes. And then I think maybe midway or towards the end of it, we realized like, oh, this is Saints Row. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we took it a little more seriously. It's like, all right, what do we got here? And I thought it looked interesting. I mean, I would like to see more like actual gameplay, but
Yeah.
I'm interested in it. I'm always up for something different. Like we were just talking about the other game being so outside the box, and I'm always up for a different experience. Yeah, I'm curious
Yeah.
about it. I think it looks decent so far.
Yeah, there was a bit like she does look like you. She does look like
A little bit.
A
The more I
little
look
bit,
at
a
her,
little.
maybe not so
Her
much. But at
jaw's a
first,
bit
yeah.
more squarey, but she does.
Yeah.
Does she sound like you? Does she have what was that super chat? Smooth
Oh.
caramel. What?
What was it? Molasses or
What?
something?
Molasses?
Or maybe it was caramel drizzling.
Caramel,
off
caramel drizzling down. It was like a Marks and Spencer's ad for people.
It was
UK.
something wild like that. Yeah, I don't know if she sounds like me. Maybe not. She might not have that going for her. But if they need me, I'm available. No. Yeah.
But no, yeah. I mean, there was some not controversy, but there were some people murmurs of people saying tonally it's changed. They don't look gangster enough, which they look more like hipsters. Whereas the other guys had the old school gangster image. I don't know about that anymore. That didn't really come across to me. But I wasn't really thinking of that, but it seems like that's gaining traction for some reason. But yeah, rightly or wrongly, I don't really care either way. I want to see the gameplay. But Asa, Saints Row. So just very quickly, Saints Row 1 and 2 were one of my favorite games of that 360 gen. They were so good. They were better than GTA 4 in my opinion. They were really doing GTA better until it got really silly with all the sex jokes and the dildos. And then I thought, well, this had potential. But then a lot of people like that silly kind of thing, maybe to distinguish it from GTA. Where's your view on Saints Row? Will you actually play something like this? Do you like open world games like GTA?
Funnily enough, actually, I thought I was the only one that preferred the first Saints Row over the GTA series. So the first Saints Row unashamedly copied Grand Theft Auto. Didn't deny it, didn't try and hide it like it was a massive rip-off. But they improved certain things. The gunplay was much better. The save system was a lot better. And I finished the first Saints Row and I never finished a Grand Theft Auto game just because they tweaked it in the right ways for me. The second game, a lot of people loved. And then they just started building on it with excess over excess over excess until the fourth game was more like Crackdown than Grand Theft Auto, right? You're flying around looking for power-ups and it got completely nuts. And they just have got to a point where they can't keep escalating, so they have to reset. I didn't particularly like the trailer or the gameplay snippets that they showed at Gamescom. So it's not that I'm against the type of game. I'd happily dive into a Saints Row, and I think there's a good chance that the studio will deliver something good, but I didn't think they gave it a very good showing.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really glean much from that. People are picking it apart just based on that CGI trailer already. So it's like there's the danger right there of relying on CGI trailers if they don't relay what the game is actually about accurately. But yeah, it's interesting. They share some views. Saints Row 1 and 7 was better than GTA.
I don't
driving
just
better.
to clarify, I'm not saying it's necessarily better. It gelled with me more, and I managed to finish it. But Grand Theft Auto is a phenomenon. So I don't want to overly inflate Saints Row. Grand Theft Auto is a phenomenon, and I'm sure the next one will be, right? But
I have the balls to say I will say that Saints Row 1 and 2 were better than GTA 4. With Nico Bellic, that one, there's just gameplay fun-wise. Mechanically, that game just forgot fun, in my opinion. It was like, okay, I was going to have a weird analogy there, I'll stop. Blue Boy Voss, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. Because Source! Does Xbox believe in generations? For making xCloud available on Xbox One consoles, they can leave development on last-gen hardware behind. I don't think it's that straightforward, but xCloud on those consoles is how I always believed they would address their promises of future compatibility. If you remember, last generation they were throwing that term around. But whether or not that eases the burden when they're going to have a hard cutoff to say no more last gen stuff, Asa?
This is an incredible thing. I'm a massive fan of this, and it's not to say that it wasn't expected. Whether Microsoft believe in generations or not, they've been very open that they're trying to blend those lines anyway, and that's a fantastic thing. Because we have on this show, we're always talking about what's coming next, and there's a lot of people that are really into that. But to be able to talk about what's coming next and to let Microsoft develop games that take advantage of these Series X consoles, but still include the people that don't have them, either because they can't afford them, they don't want them, whatever their reason may be, can't find them, doesn't matter. We've got a situation now where Microsoft can deliver fantastic experiences without worrying about how small their audience is, because they can deliver them to Xbox One generation owners as well. Xbox One owners, you see people on Twitter saying, like, oh, why would you get a Series X? You can stream. That's the best thing. Like, you have access to these games and you don't need to spend £500 to get that.
Yeah.
There's nobody that loses in that equation. So for that to be coming soon, I'm really happy. Really happy.
Definitely. Raiden Blade, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. Goes, love the Halo Infinite hype. It has everyone worried about the game. Xbox, Gamescom, and nothing. Most Xbox fans watched it. And another super chat from him. Thank you again. He goes, Then came the ONL you got with Jeff Keighley. You got multiplayer season 1 announced, followed by Controller Elite 2, followed by limited edition console. Let's very quickly talk about that before we talk about games. Did you guys? I bought that controller straight away. A lot of people sold out. They couldn't even get the hold of that. We refresh. What are your thoughts on that, Joe?
One of the lucky ones, huh?
Controller? Yeah, mate. Just until they take the money out of our account. But yeah, that's. What are your thoughts on the controller, Erica? Did you like it?
Look at Joe.
I thought you already had it. I was like, wait, hold on. He's flexing on us.
that's from last. That's last year. So that's last gens.
It looked similar, like the colors.
Yeah, gold.
Yeah.
D-pad.
Almost.
It looks sweet.
So, Gaz, you were able to get one then? You were able to pre-order a controller, or no?
Yeah.
Tell the whole story, Gaz. Tell the whole story.
Wow.
I enjoyed it.
I'm not telling the whole embarrassing
Fine, I'm going to tell the whole story. So we have a little WhatsApp group, and Gaz piped up and it said, yeah, I've got one of these new controllers. And somebody else said, oh, where can I get one from? And Gaz said, oh, they only ship them to the US. You can't get one over here. I'm shipping mine to Colt Eastwood. So, and I'm like, Gaz,
okay.
They don't deliver it here because you're on the US store. If you follow this link and go to the UK store where you live, they will deliver it to you. So now he's got 2 Xbox Master Chief controllers.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've got 2 now. But Zorka couldn't get one. And luckily, if he can't manage to get one, I can send it to Zorka. Shout out to Zorka. And shout out to Colt for accepting all my deliveries.
I'll be on Zucker's show tomorrow, actually.
Are you?
Yeah.
Zorka doesn't have a show.
Wait, am I thinking of the wrong person? No, never mind. All those guys on Dealer Show are the same. No. I don't know. It's Fonz's show, my bad.
Fonz's show. Yeah.
Egg on face, there you go.
Fonz, you're the same as Zorka. That one. Shout out to Fonz, by the way, as well. You're going to have a good time on the show. He's got a really good format there. But heads up, brush up on your gaming knowledge because he might be asking you some questions.
He quizzes, doesn't he?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Like 5 questions. It's a really fun quiz. Nothing to take seriously. I'm sure you've got bigger concerns. Raider Blade, thank you for making it rain 3 times. He says with his £2 super chat, because then 2 days later, Starfield info drops. Everyone's watching ONL, including PS fans. That's because they don't have an event to show, so they have nothing left to do. It sucks, doesn't it? What for the PlayStation fan, like Erica? Are you like a bit like, come on, man, show some stuff?
Am I the PlayStation fan of the group, or what are you saying?
Well, everyone, if I said
Nah.
I'm kind of disappointed that PlayStation is not showing anything, they're like, you've made too many source videos where you make fun of Jim Ryan, so you're not allowed to be concerned.
They're saying
So,
you
but
biased
you
or something. Yeah.
But you're
You
very.
did used to have the 4 symbols as well, but they seem to be missing today.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
PlayStation symbols.
me. Yeah, that shirt I had. Yeah. I'm kind of everywhere, so I play across everything. So yeah, Sony, I mean, they were kind of there. I mean, they announced the Horizon delay, so that happened. Yeah, I know there's some PlayStation fans. They're a little frustrated. They're like, man, we didn't get no E3. We didn't get, a proper anything big But at the same time, I think people are kind of like, well, if they have nothing to show, then why you have a drawn out like show like the Xbox show? They kind of compare like that could have been in a tweet, kind of thing. Yeah. So it's like, I guess I'm kind of just whatever. I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima DLC. Like I'm just like playing games, and I would like it. I would like an event, show something, maybe God of War or something like that. But if it's not ready, then
yeah,
I wasn't really thinking about it. Yeah, what I was really looking for was Elden Ring stuff, because that's my most anticipated. So yeah, well, I'm sure we'll talk about other things like that, but that's what I was looking for. So the Sony stuff would have been cool too, but I'm just so focused on like specific games. It's like I wasn't really even thinking about it, honestly.
Yeah. Well, let me talk about that Elden Ring, because that was one of the topics. You and Miles, Dompierre, and me, but you two are massive fans of this. IGN had the first preview of it. Are you a big? What are your thoughts on it? On Elden Ring, will it be? Because some of the hype is going a little bit crazy on this one. Does this stand a chance of actually matching expectations? And this is a new IP.
I mean, it's From Software. At the end of the day, it's From Software, and their resume right now is like almost perfect, And this game, what they're saying from the previews and what Miyazaki has said in his interviews and the other developers, they're saying they've taken basically everything they've learned from like Sekiro and Dark Souls and Bloodborne. It's kind of like bringing it all together, and it's sounding so good. But I don't think it's at the point where it's like too good to be true, because we trust From Software. I mean, they would have to fumble this so badly to lose our trust, because we really love their games, and we kind of know what we're getting, even though it's a new experience. We know that From Software magic is like there, and we're already seeing it. Like there's plenty of comparisons between like certain things in the game. It's just now it's open world. It's got a map now. It's got all these things that you're like, wow, this could be the perfect like From Software game. And I know that sounds like people are going to think like, well, you're kind of setting yourself up for disappointment. But I feel like we have so much trust. We don't even think of it that way. Like I'm not scared to say that, And that's pretty awesome. Yeah. They're
not many people can say that about studios.
Right. They've earned it. So
100%.
Like I said, this would have to be the biggest fumble, and I can't even think of what could make that happen, because I just know they're gonna bring it, So I'm excited.
So much faith, so much.
I have a lot.
Faith. Joe, I hope your game bangs to that degree where they were like, it's a Joe Winter.
Yeah. Any game from now on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they've got how many in the bank now, and I don't think they've really made any major mistakes. So it's probably worthy of their trust until they do that.
This is their baby, though. Their formula. They created.
Yeah, exactly. This is their thing.
So, are you a big Elden Ring fan?
Honestly, I'm excited for it. I haven't played a ton of these. This looks really, I don't know, extra dynamic, and so I'm more interested in it than maybe some of the other ones. But it's one of those things where like, I understand the excitement, because they came out and showed gameplay right away, and if not true full gameplay, it's all game stuff compared to a cinematic or something. And I think the studio has only ever made good games. I mean, I don't think anyone's had a problem with anything they've done.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I mean, maybe a little bit lower rating. Yeah, maybe rated a little lower than the one before here or there, but like it's not like they've bombed anything. So I'm guessing this is gonna be as good or better than some of that other stuff. So
Oh yeah. Well, Dan
I
Lazaro,
like the style better too, so I think I'm good chance I'll play this one.
I think I'm with you there, Joe, in terms of what you said about the extra dynamic gameplay, because a lot of that is kind of set in stone. I liked Sekiro. I haven't played Sekiro, but what attracts me to it, because it seems a little bit more extra dynamic than its counterparts. And this is also the same as well. It looks like that. And the art style, you're right. But Dan Lazaro, the $2 super chat. Dan Lazaro, who also unequivocally agrees with me that Halo should be delayed, has also said he doesn't. Expectations seem cyberpunkish.
He's talking about me. He's talking about me, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he's talking about you.
Well, somebody else in the chat said Cyberpunk or CD Projekt Red went out of their zone. So it's a bit different. They went from like something like The Witcher to this cyberpunk theme. Dark Souls theme and like that Soulsborne-ish stuff that From Software does. This is more of that. Yeah, it looks very more dynamic maybe. It's got more going on. It's got way more systems, I think, that are going to be in place for these compared to like Dark Souls, but it's still in their realm. You look at the game, you're like, that's From Software. That's a From Software game, you know? So I think that's why we have a little bit more like, confidence.
Yeah, it would be more worthy of... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
I was just gonna say it would be way more troubling if they were like, this was gonna be the biggest Dark Souls game that we've ever made, and then announce like this list of features that are kind of like, trending words or trending styles. That's when you go, what are you doing? And then you go, okay, well, I'll wait to see this. But I think we're more safe believing that they'll do a good job here.
No,
I was just going to say, for me, I don't want to make it like a massive Cyberpunk conversation because that's like a year ago or whatever. But I would have said CD Projekt Red making Cyberpunk was a safer bet, because Cyberpunk, everybody just expected like it's going to be like The Witcher 3, but in a Cyberpunk setting. Whereas Elden Ring, they've never gone open world. So I'd actually say if you're looking at going outside of your comfort zone, I'd say From Software are pushing further. That's not to say that they're going to do it wrong though. But
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I could see it that way. I could see it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. The other game that, well, it looked good, but they didn't show gameplay for it. But there seems to be a lot of hype. I think one of the more hyped games of Gamescom, what was it? ONL. Was this Marvel's Midnight Suns? It's a tactical RPG, and I don't think a lot of people know it's the tactical RPG because they showed off really cool CGI. Are you guys fans of like that tactical RPG stuff, Joe? Like into that isometric kind of? I think it's like XCOM kind of stuff.
I do like playing games like that, like League of Legends, which is very not the same, but like that feeling, or Diablo, I guess, kind of is in that kind of genre of things somewhat. I do enjoy that a little bit, but I didn't actually watch this one, so I couldn't really tell you.
There wasn't much gameplay anyway.
If you had the play, you wouldn't know anymore. It's, so it's in the vein of XCOM and Gears Tactics and those kind of games.
Got it.
It was rumored to be coming for a while, but you absolutely, like Gaz says, you would not know that from what they showed at Gamescom because it was just a CGI.
It's just a
Marvel
cool
trailer.
CGI. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is why I don't like this sort of stuff. I'm so over CGI trailers.
Yeah, which is why the Elden Ring thing is really good, isn't it? Because the first reveals.
It's an actual gameplay. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why it distinguishes itself from Cyberpunk. I'm talking about Elden Ring there because of that. So I don't think they created their subgenre. So I can understand, Erica, your high expectations. They match what's been shown, the pedigree, the history of the studio. So it's not controversial.
If it disappoints, I'll be the first one to let you know. It would hit me hard. I'll tell you that. It would hit me a little harder. Like, damn, what happened? But I'm pretty confident. Yeah.
No, I don't blame you as well. Another game that showed off a little bit, but a game, I think it's indie. I think it's an indie game.
Wait, Gaz, just before we zip on to the next one, just because we haven't actually talked about the Marvel one yet. So just really quickly. Sorry. So with that in mind, that it's the tactics kind of game, we are actually going to see gameplay on September the 1st, apparently, so it's only a few days away. Game comes out next year.
Nice.
It's got a weird
March
cross-section
next year.
of characters. Yeah, a weird cross section of characters like Blade and things like that are less popular. But yeah, Erica, something
Blade
that
is
you'd
a
play?
beast.
Interested in it at all?
I love Gears Tactics, and I played stuff like Fire Emblem, which is kind of like a tactical game as well.
Oh yeah.
So I'd be interested in it. I love Wolverine. So I mean, there's certain characters I really like, and I think it'd be cool to see that universe. They said it's like an RPG as well, so you like get to know the characters, I guess, on that kind of like RPG level. I think they said. So yeah, I'm interested. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I need to open my horizons up to more things because one game I'm playing is the isometrics Hades. I'm still playing it. Even though I completed it on Switch. I completed it on Switch. The game is longer. Call of Duty Vanguard. World War II, whatever it is, returns, and I don't care for it. But someone balance out my apathy with some kind of enthusiasm. Joe, tell me you love old guns that take 17 hours to reload, and Call of Duty's going to redefine everything.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah. I the only problem I think would be that I don't think they would actually make them take long to reload. I'm guessing that they'll add in some crazy things to make it feel like a modern day shooter, even though you're trying to shoot, a carbine with 6 rounds or something. I love that era, and then the pre-modern era of shooter stuff. I think that's so much more interesting than all the hyper shooters that we've got now, even when they're sort of placed in modern times. There's so much more like drama in the slower gameplay, and it's something that we don't realize we've lost because it was such a slow walk up to it. But there's something just so great to me about that kind of style. But I don't think that they will do it. I think they will still feel like most of their games, which is like pure high octane all the time. And I think that will be the mistake for me. Not that they went back and said, "Do you guys want to play more World War II stuff?" Because I'm honestly I'm for it, but I don't think that they will make that game, to be honest.
No, they don't. See, that's the thing with World War games like that. It's like a reskin, but it's not that kind of the World War game done right, like with the old Medal of Honor and Brother in Arms games. There was that level of visceral feel. Everything was really mechanical, hard, slow. The impact was, even down to reloading your gun and firing it. Everything was more decisive. There's more emotion involved. I think as warfare has advanced, it's become really clinical, which is kind of scary. Human beings are pretty messed up, but that's our nature. That's what we're like. We're pretty violent creatures inherently. Clearly, our history says that. But in terms of like the gameplay loop, I was really disappointed with Call of Duty. Just like I was going back to World War II, but and then I saw the campaign gameplay, and I was in party chat, and I'm like, okay, right, well, damn it, this looks good. Like it looks fun. The campaign looks really good. But not for the reasons I mentioned. It just looks like it's that Call of Duty high octane kind of campaign, which I enjoy because they're short, they're brief, they're cinematic. It's like watching a movie in the cinema almost.
Yeah, I think that's what will pull me out of it, honestly. Like what we're watching right now in this like hallway creeping. Like I want to be in the battlefield, running in the trenches, and then putting grenades into the artillery shells. Like I want to play Band of Brothers. I don't want to play another Modern Warfare corridor runner just with the different gun. I think.
That's the biggest takeaway from the whole thing was that the climbing bricks look stupid.
That definitely stood out.
Those houses.
Who built those houses? That's a good question.
The whole thing, though,
just need to think about that kind of detail.
It's got a nice color palette, right? The lighting is appealing, the effects and the particle effects is all very nice, but it looks super heavily scripted. It doesn't look fun to play to me. But then I don't
the scripted stuff.
Games, but...
What about you, Erica? Are you into like COD campaigns?
Not too much. Again, it's that whole, playing campaigns. Sometimes I get the motion sickness thing. But I did play the multiplayer a lot on the 360, and I just kind of fell off and went to Battlefield. That's kind of my history with COD. But I actually did play the Vanguard Alpha last night. There's an Alpha on PlayStation right now. And I can confirm they do, well, at least for that mode, it's called like Champion Hill. It's a little different than other modes. It's like you're 2-on-2, you're in a tournament, you have to upgrade your weapons as you go. You get money. So there's like stacks of money. You just walk over and collect it. So that's not, when you think World War II, you're not thinking, I'm picking up money and like upgrading, buying shields or armor. Sorry, you could like put on armor. And even your weapons, you'll have your gun and you'll hit your D-pad and say, I want to upgrade my weapon. You get like a little red dot on your weapon, your scopes and stuff. So it's definitely, it's weird. It's like this World War II skin, but it's got these modern perks and things with it. So it's a little different. It's a Call of Duty spin on it, if you will. It's there. I can confirm that. At least for that mode. I haven't played other modes, but in the multiplayer, they are doing that kind of stuff to kind of get you like, oh, this is not so old. Or like waiting for a bolt action rifle. It's like, no, you're, automatics and stuff are in there too. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's the opposite of what Joe was saying he enjoyed in a game like this.
Yeah. That's why I assumed they would do it. I knew it was coming. Yeah. So like the Battlefield's like World War I game, they had all these like crazy automatics and stuff, and you're like, what is this? But it's because they were like keeping up with the speed of gameplay of the time, and it's unfortunate. Yeah,
no, definitely. I mean, it's going against Battlefield this year, and I think we might actually see. We always say this every year, it's going to drop off, but I don't know. I think it's the best chance Battlefield has yet, but whether or not with this price point and the lack of single player content, that perception or whatever, not perception, whatever, may scupper that. But I'm more excited for Battlefield. You say you're more a fan of the older vintage kind of stuff, Joe, but I assume we're still live because Acer's now an icon. But
yeah, we're good.
I was going to say, are you still hyped about Battlefield, or do you like Battlefield?
I probably to pick between them, I'd probably pick Battlefield most of the time. I think when they do the bigger fights, even if they are kind of forcing you into squad fights more often, I still like those bigger worlds, those more open and more dynamic fights over the tight, fast-paced Call of Duty stuff. But if I had to pick one, I'd definitely go Battlefield. But I want more DayZ and more Arma stuff. Personally, is where I tend on the shooter side of things. Yeah, I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, but that's definitely where I'm at.
Oh, I know a lot of people would agree with you. Shout out to over the 215 people watching. Smash that like button if you are enjoying the bants. We're just going to go quickly into talk about, because we've gone past that hour and a half mark, as I'm conscious of the guest time. But I want to talk about some games. Ladies and gents, Erica and Joe, if you do need to step out quickly, do just holler at me and just tell me, because we've gone past an hour. But I really want to just carry on the conversation because I'm a little bit hyped about some of these games. I want to talk about Sifu before you leave, actually, because I really like Sifu. I really like the way Sifu looks mad, and I don't think that game gets enough love in the mainstream. A lot of people can like, what's Sifu? Yeah. But that's it.
I haven't gave it much love on my end, guys. There's something about that game. I see it and for a split second, I'm like, oh, this looks cool. Combat heavy, precise combat. Probably got a parry or like, not parry, but like block and do all these moves, right?
Yeah.
But I think the more like I see it, I'm like, I feel like that would get old after a while because they always, you have something beeping over there?
Can you hear the beeping?
I do, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Let me just mute myself in case my house is on fire.
Yeah, check it.
But, Asa, we're talking about Sifu. You can carry on. Sorry.
Of course, I know. The trailer's already playing. Carry on.
Okay, I was just saying, there's something about it. I don't know if it's because they present it where it's like cuts of the gameplay and you're not really seeing like a full mission or full gameplay, or I don't know. It seems interesting enough to try it, depending on the price point and things like that, but I don't know. There's just something about it that's like off to me. Maybe I'm alone on that. I don't know.
So, not alone. The the gameplay looks really impressive. Every time you see it, the trailers are really nice, and it cuts between like the good action. But you can tell if you had a controller, pretty much everything that's happening there is context sensitive. So essentially, what you're getting is the combat system from the Batman Arkham games, but it's the whole game. So I see exactly what you're saying, because unless there's more to it, you're going to get bored of hitting those dodge, counter, attack, dodge, counter buttons over and over again. At the same time, it does look cool and the action looks fun. What about you, Joe? Do you know much of Sifu?
Yeah, I mean, it's a gorgeous looking game. Obviously, the animations attract me to it because it feels so nice and fluid, like you're saying. But I do think it does seem like it's probably one of those Arkham style combats, and that's what would put me off on it. I would want that to be like a really frenetic fight, and if it's just hit the counter button and then hit A bunch of times, then it will lose a lot of its sauce, if you will.
Sauce. I love the fact that you come back to it and you use that word. Nice.
See, I like the combat in Arkham, and it's prevalent in so many games now. Like Ghost of Tsushima is the Arkham combat model to me as well, and people love the combat in that. But you've not really had many games that are just that combat on repeat the whole way through. So we'll see how it holds up. What about you guys? I know you're looking forward to this one.
You make good points about the combat, and if it's just Arkham, then it's a little bit disappointing. I want a little bit of fluidity. It's why I like Song of Iron, and bring it back to your game, Joe. That fluidity in combat. I think you designed it from the ground up to have that kind of something. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die today. I'm sorry about that beeping. I don't know what that is.
What
but
was
it's so
it?
loud.
You don't know what it is?
I don't know. I think it might be a car like that with a really weird car alarm, because that's a weird beep. So apologies for that. And people listening on Spotify, I don't know what that is. But yeah, in terms of combat, same thing with Song of Iron. Pick up the axe, throw. I love that kind of stuff. If Sifu's going to stand a chance of retaining, or actually kind of doing well by the way it looks that way. It's very fluid combat, then I'm all in. But if it's all just Batman Arkham, then it's going to get boring, because nothing's going to break the pace of that game.
As far as we know, I mean, I'm definitely going to pick it up and try it, because I think they're trying something, and I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to try to go beyond just what we've seen. So I'm all for trying it. I definitely am looking forward to it.
I am as well. I didn't want to paint a really negative picture on it. I'm
same.
concerned that it's going to be one note, but actually what they've done with the animations, with the environments, with that weird ink pen that's splatting everyone, it looks good at what it does. I just want to know that it does more.
How much it opens up, I guess. And because to me, I guess I'm thinking, am I just going to room, clearing the room of like 1-2 enemies? And I guess I'm thinking maybe it needs more to carry it as far as like story and context, and like you guys were kind of saying, and but we'll see. I mean, I think it'd be worth a try. Definitely, it's got enough to make me try it.
Definitely, I think the themes are there. So it'd be a shame if it was just combat heavy and it doesn't explore the themes that it's built upon. That would be really good.
Yeah.
If it does do that. Another game that actually oh my god, I'm gonna break something. Another game that was that's been released that I want to talk about very quickly is Psychonauts 2. That game surprised in terms of critical reception, positive surprise. Tim Burton kind of. Oh man, I can't think. That thing is stopping me from thinking. I'm really sorry.
Gotta take
it's
over.
annoying me that I need to get my NVIDIA broadcast up a bit, but I don't know if that's going to help. But yeah, Psychonauts 2, man, that game just killed it in reviews. It's now, actually, I'm going to ask you about Metacritic in a bit, Joe, but it's like 88 meta. It looks done resoundingly well. Are you going to play that, Joe? Is that the kind of game you play? Are you a platformers fan?
Yeah, I do like platformers. I didn't play the first one. All my friends loved it, and so it's just one of those things I should get around to. But it feels like, from what I've seen, they've sort of maybe smoothed some of the edges of the classic Tim Schafer game, where it can be a little off-putting for like the mass audience, I guess. And it feels like they've kind of shaved some of that off. So I think it'll be a little bit more appealing, which is probably what we're seeing. Surprisingly high scores, because his games have always been great, but they've always been very niche. And I feel like they maybe found a little bit of extra something here, and that's awesome, because they're always trying to do different stuff. So I'm happy to see it, and I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah, definitely. Rated Blade with a very worrying super chat. It says gas check of carbon monoxide by your boiler. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if this is my last stream,
Oh no!
I will
Don't say that.
I want my last words to be delay Halo Infinite.
Oh man.
This guy goes down swinging, literally.
Yeah.
Just I'm gonna come in the way
Dying on that hill.
go out the way I came in. Yep. Gotta be
Dang.
you know, I live a short life, I'll still die as a villain. Yeah. What were we talking about? Psychonauts. Sorry, Erica. Can you still hear that?
Yeah.
I put this bloody NVIDIA broadcast on max. It's really loud. So Psychonauts 2. What's your thought on it? I mean, are you gonna play that? Would you play that without it being on Xbox Game Pass?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. It being on Game Pass, and I'm a subscriber to Game Pass, it's like, well, it's there for me anytime. I am just taking my time on it. I don't have time right now, but once I do get time, I do want to check it out. It's getting great reviews. Would I buy it without Game Pass? Probably not. I'm gonna be honest. I would wait probably for a discount, if anything.
See?
Yeah,
See.
that's one game I could say for sure. I probably would not buy yet.
But
Yeah.
now you're gonna be downloading it, presumably, right? Or have downloaded it? Or are you playing it
Soon. I was playing 12 minutes. I know we mentioned that game earlier. That's been my Game Pass game as of late. But after I do that and a couple other games, Song of Iron, I got some games coming. Once I have some downtime, I want to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Seems cool.
that's interesting chat there. That people, because I bought Psychonauts 1 on Steam maybe last year, and I was worried. Like then Game Pass, I was like, okay, at least a few people will play it, but a lot of people are playing it now. I'm really happy that the game is done really well. But still, despite the reviews, a lot of people will still resign to relying on Game Pass for sample, which is fine, which is great. See, people would, I bought it. God knows, Psychonauts 1 after how long it came out, and I don't know if they'll still see the money of it, but it's interesting. Asa, I know you wanted to cover Psychonauts 2, but I said I have a nice little because you do HDR gameplay, but I have a nice editing idea for my videos. But are you have I deprived you of your opportunity to cover Psychonauts 2? Are you a big Psychonauts fan? Because I didn't think you would.
I'm really impressed. The Game Pass thing was a good question. So now I'm thinking there probably is carbon monoxide flowing through your room. Because that's come from somewhere. I'm actually, I'm in the same boat as Erica. Like, I'm going to play Psychonauts 2 because it's reviewing well, but I don't typically like platform games. I'm not a massive fan of them. I've said many times I don't play a Mario. I wouldn't touch it, right? Psychonauts 2 being on Game Pass is there for me to have a go on, so I will. And I'm genuinely surprised because you look at the game and the characters have these faces that have such a lack of like texture and detail, and I know it's the art style of those characters, but they look kind of ugly, right? If you compare it to like Ratchet and Clank, and you think, oh no, this is like a much lower budget game than that. It's got much less detail, and then it's come out and these review scores are stellar. Like everyone's giving it 9s and 10s. Even that's not enough to make me buy a platformer for £55, but for Game Pass, absolutely, I'm going to play it.
And that's the beauty of Game Pass. It's just killer. And I can't wait to play it. I can't wait to make the video. Open a window, Kendrick. I've closed it because I'm thinking it's from the outside. But don't worry, we'll survive. And I'll keep muting myself while I'm not talking, which is going to be hard because I don't stop talking. So that's a problem right there. I think. There's a final question I want to ask. I want to bring it back to Song of Iron, but there's one game we have to talk about. It's Horizon Forbidden West. That's finally got a release date along with Halo, and that's coming out next year. So a couple of people in the community, King David, had a bet with some guy about which game would release first, Halo or Horizon. And King David gets the knees, wins the money. I don't know what the bet is. But Horizon Forbidden West coming out next year. Gets the knees. So shout out to the Iron Lords. The Horizon Forbidden West is coming out next year. I should really know the date, considering the fact that I've just brought this topic up, but I have no idea. What the hell?
February 18th, I think.
18th. Yeah,
18th of
that
Feb.
sounds right.
Okay. That's not too far off. And it's a game that's looking very, very impressive. Erica, I want to ask, are you a big Horizon fan? And did you complete Horizon Zero Dawn?
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to make people mad listening, because I do make people mad on my own channel.
Do it.
I played and beat the first Horizon. It was good, not great. It's one of those where I felt like it kind of overstayed its welcome. I kind of forced
so
myself
angry
through
right now.
it. But but to be
Don't be
fair,
angry.
I always have to add this context. To be fair, I had just started Breath of the Wild at that time. I finished Neo at that time, so I was a little just tired because I was just going through games one after another, and so that's kind of like my context there. But you know, and I do want to play the next one. But there's things I just want done better, and I'm hoping they do better as far as like the story, the pacing, and how long the game is. Hopefully it's not drawn out again, and I just want it to be more of a tight package. That's usually like what I say about it, and so that's kind of my hope. So I'm excited for it, but I'm not hyped or like upset at this delay or anything. Like, I expected that. And I guess King is going to collect knees because of this, because he won a bet. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him.
Too.
Yeah.
No, I share your view on Horizon. I think it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a fun game. It's not massively like, I didn't complete Zero Dawn. Kind of lost interest.
Oh, you didn't?
Through.
You dropped it then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just enjoying it, but I'm not a big fan of those kind of open world games that follow the almost Assassin's Creed formula. Ghost of Tsushima is the exception to that, where it just feels like I'm sucked into something unique. I love that Japanese culture. The combat also does enough, even though it's quite formulaic. It's tied into the theme enough. I like the standoff because I want to feel like a samurai that's doing like this face off one man, like the last That's not me.
Sorry, the cat feeder.
Okay.
Time for the cat to eat. So
Your cat is such a troll cat. I love that cat.
she is.
Run
They
through the
both are.
house
I have
with a
two.
trolley.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet. Oh, you should bring the cat on cam. But yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
She might
kind of
appear. She might appear. She's hungry, I'm sure.
Joe, are you a fan of like I think that a lot of these games they just become too formulaic. I'm not saying Horizon Forbidden West is like that, but what do you think? What are your thoughts on games like this on Horizon Forbidden West?
Yeah, they've soured for me because they are so formulaic. Like you're saying, I think and that's just my style. I love a more dynamic, more like organic world, and I think a lot of these, no matter how much content they have, they end up feeling repetitive and overly structured. You know, and they'll do all these things like make it bigger or make it have more stuff, but in the end, you're still like following these little blips around the world, and that really kills it for me. And that's, you know, I'll go to DayZ almost every time with like an example of the exact opposite version of it, and how much I love that. And I wish we could find some better middle ground. I think both sides, they become much better games. Some games sort of survive and don't bother me, like Witcher 3, you know, which really did follow all that, but for whatever reason, I didn't feel it in the same way, and I love that game. And some make it through and they're okay, and I think with like Breath of the Wild, which almost was heading in that direction, but didn't quite do it, and so it was a way better game. And I actually, if you haven't done it, go play again, as like we've all this time. Turn off all of the helping. You can do this in the settings. You can turn off all the help. The game, if it wasn't good enough already, it could become so much better. It's amazing with all the help turned off, and that's the stuff we need. We need more of that, less of the map with 1,000.
Yeah, just littered with stuff. Yeah. The
Yeah.
Ubisoft effect, basically.
Yeah, the Ubisoft effect.
Yeah.
Which
It's
is funny.
it's
you say
unfortunate. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, the concept of the game of Horizon is so cool. The robot animals and like the roping them and all the different stuff and all the ways you can do it. It's just because it ends up confining you. It makes that thing artificial. robots.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because it'd be so much cooler being more dynamic.
See, I'm so glad you say that, and I take that as you, as a game dev, are saying that is so important, because I think game design is still stuck so far back. I want dynamism in a game. So when I saw you, and Erica, you mentioned the Ubisoft effect. When I saw the Division, I wanted that kind of setting, but with DayZ. Like, you know, DayZ, you drink water, you go into a door, the dynamic kind of thing. But the Division turned out to be, you know, like how Destiny it became really formulaic, like these like checklist exercise almost.
Yeah.
My dream game, I've said this before on the show, is like open world, like space combat. You go in, you have a crew, everyone has like a medic. You have a dynamic world. You can enter into an atmosphere of a planet. The combat is different. You reload guns. Everything needs to be more dynamic. But I'm gonna spare you because Ace is like doing the shifty.
Everyone has a medic. What are you talking about?
No, carbon monoxide. And there's a medic. There's an engineer. There's a guy's a pilot. Everyone has their own thing. It's like pitch black. You know, you land on the planet. It's just. Game design is so derivative of something. It's like, you know, same over-the-shoulder stuff, and just want something different, something dynamic. I can't name a single game that's like that, large scale, that's doing something like that.
You know,
yeah,
I said
Sea of
many
Thieves
times,
starts to be better.
Yeah,
They're getting closer. They're trying some of those things out.
Yeah, but it's going to need a big...
Yeah, more.
I've said
The
like
ship is-
loads of times that like the Ubisoft formula I find instantly off-putting. If you like climb a tower and press a button and it says, great, you've done that, now do it 3 more times in this zone and then do it in this zone and this zone and this zone. That's pretty much why I stopped playing Ghost of Tsushima. It's like you can chase a fox here and there's going to be a fox here and a fox here and a fox here and
Yeah.
not for me. For some reason, I managed to tune most of that out for Horizon. So I'm the opposite of Joe. I thought the concept was bad. I thought the robot dinosaurs, I thought, really? That's just silly.
Okay.
All right, like it's nice. As I like the children's toys. I'm sure everybody had robot dinosaurs as children, but it didn't make a grown-ups game for me. And then you play it, and it actually explains it away really well when you go through the story. So I actually really liked Horizon Zero Dawn and did finish it. And other games that do open world, Witcher 3 is the best example because I never felt that I was going district by district on Witcher 3, and it took me a long time to get through. I could play it for a while, and I'd need a break, and then I'd come back to it because it is a huge game. But the worst part of the Spider-Man games, I absolutely love the Spider-Man games, but they definitely have that map formula, and that's a massive minus points on that game for me.
The side stuff,
but the core of it was strong enough to carry me through, and Horizon, same for me. The core of it was strong enough to carry me through. So I am looking forward to the second one. I would absolutely love it if I open the map and it's not got those familiar icons dotted everywhere. But
or a way to turn them off would be great.
Yeah,
no, that's not enough. Turning them off's an option, but I'm not strong enough for that. Like,
well, they're too complicated.
Then I'll use them, but just don't have that concept in the game of repeating the same tasks in districts.
Yeah, I think it's starting to get lazy and derivative. Lazy is missing a bit harsh, but yeah. Raiden Blade, thank you so much for the £2 super stickers. February 2022 stacked, at least 4 to 6 games coming, absolutely. And PlayStation's having a banger year owing to its delays for God of War, Horizon, and then you've got Xbox as well creating dank memes. Dan Brown with a £5 super chat goes, I used to love these open worlds, but a lot of them ended up being very repetitive. Dean Brown, sorry, I don't know, I said Dan Brown. Very repetitive. I think immersive sims like Deus Ex or Dishonored are more dynamic and fun. Agreed. Deus Ex becomes a little bit thingy, but there is also very dynamic. Yeah, Dishonored's really good because it's open. It lets you play in a much more open way, but I'm hoping we get more from devs on that. Something to change up. Everyone focuses on visuals, more effects on physics, more effects on AI, man, it's all about AI. Yeah, so we've gone, so this is a 2-hour show, but so I hope you guys enjoyed the chat. We've been having a great show. Before we finally say goodbye, I have to talk about Song of Iron. It's due out. The embargoes are released Monday. Everyone gets to sample the game. Joe, this is so harsh. What's your Metacritic prediction for your
Oh my
own
gosh,
game?
I mean, obviously tens, right? No.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really don't know. I'm
would you be happy
hopeful. I would be so happy with sevens, and that seems maybe silly or whatever, but I mean,
No.
anything. If people like the game and recommend it to their friends, I'm happy. I think it's such a learning process. I can't imagine it doing like top marks this time. I'm gonna get better, and so there has to be room for that. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life. So rate me low. No, I need somewhere to go. No. Yeah, I mean, in the sevens, I'd be so happy. Honestly, it's again. I just hope people like it, whatever the scores end up being.
Yeah. No, I mean, you say seven's a bit weird, but no, seven's actually a really decent score.
I mean,
In
that's
fact,
a good score.
Thomas
Yeah.
Sala was like, really happy with those scores. It's like people in the gaming community, we tend to just have this really stupid, archaic view that if it's not at least an 8, but really even that's not good enough because people get vexed at 8s, which is so stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But saying
It's all
that, Halo.
context. Yeah.
Yeah, but Halo bet being 9. Halo being 19.
Nothing. Yeah.
Halo. Yeah.
You missed my super chat, says Raiden Blade, and he did that with a super chat. I'm sorry you had to super chat for me to remember that. He says God of War 2 2023 in December. Raiden Blade either has some insider information or he is speculating it's going to be delayed again. Till
monstrous.
December? Shoot. I don't know.
Thanks for helping us end the show on that negative note. No, I hope it doesn't get delayed. I hope it really doesn't. But yeah, no, shout out to Joe Winter of Song of Iron is out Monday. Please, guys, just check it out. Support the game dev. The game looks good, and everyone in chat's saying the same. It looks awesome. It deserves it. Sleepy can't wait to play Song of Iron. I know everyone in our friend circle is just ready. Content creator circles are all the same. No cap. That's just facts. People are really hyped. Joe, this is it. You've got your show tomorrow with Fonzarelli, but this is your chance to say it. Tell people like your life depends on it. Your sequel, everything, their dreams, right here, right now, in less than 20 seconds. Sum up why people should play Song of Iron.
Oh man, I mean, if you're looking for something that was like Inside with a little bit more blood in it and a little more grown up, maybe Song of Iron is there for your Viking love. But it's different. It's not just another Viking game. There's more stuff going on. And I really hope people like it. I just think check out a trailer because I can't speak to it as much as the trailer can. I'll say that one more time. Just thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And it comes out in like 3 days. So
Right.
Still wishlist it. Go check it out on Xbox. It all helps. It's all about fighting the algorithm now because now I become one of many. Starting Tuesday.
No, exactly, absolutely. You do. So even if you don't intend on buying it, just do put in your wish list, get it out there, and blow it up. Help someone in the community. Just get this. This game's gonna do well anyway. You don't need us to do that, but just still make sure
everything helps. Bang. Yeah, it really helps.
It really does. And Joe, thank you so much. The pleasure's ours. The honor's ours. You have braced us twice on this show. I can't wait till your game. I'm gonna play it after this. And I know it's gonna bang, but
deal with that beeping first before you pass out.
Oh yeah, true. But the carbon monoxide seems to be doing well for me, so
maybe. This is a good time to do that impression. I think actually.
Oh man, but thanks again, Joe. It was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Last but certainly not least, Erica's for the win. It's always genuinely nice to have you on. Like I told you on Twitter DMs, you smash every show you go on, and so there was no worries about you killing on XNC. Everyone actually wants you back as a permanent member on XNC.
Wow.
If that's not glowing praise, I don't know what is. But I hope you had a good time.
Oh, I did. And you know what's crazy is, sometimes you're guest on a show and you kind of feel like, I don't know if I did enough or did a good job, and then I got all these nice comments, and then it made me realize, like, okay, you just wait till you see me at my best. It made me really get confident in that way of like, awesome, I'm glad people liked me. But thanks again for vouching for me, and getting me on over there. It was a good time, and a good time here today too. I'm so happy to reunite with Joe again, and in the anticipation of this game, I'm going to be covering it on my channel. So if you guys want to, follow me, check out my channel, Ericuts for the win. That's like my name everywhere. I'll probably be streaming it at some point and get my thoughts on this game and all the other games I'm playing. So you can check me out there, you guys. And thanks again for having me, Gaz. Sorry.
Gaz. You just changed my name. You forgot my name at the end. I think you've got monoxide poisoning, not me.
It's like a habit. Sometimes I'll see names and I just want to read it a certain way, and it's like I got to snap it out of my head. And Asa, of course, it's always great being with you too. And good times, good show.
Absolutely. Before Asa, I get a hand out to you. What our friend One Bad Mother from Xbox Era, who's joined us on the show, hits us with a $5 super chat to say goodbye. He says, "I'll call off." What the hell was that? Call off my Halo people before I die. They're probably not the ones causing. They're probably the ones causing the beeps. Considering a warning. Best of luck, Joe. Yeah, thank you so much, One Bad Mother. And yeah, if they can cause the beeps, come at me. Delay Halo. Asa, tell people where they can find you, and can you do the outros actually, because the beeping is going to stop as I mute myself.
Sure. So it's actually there's a consistent thing there from all of the smaller developers that we talked to. Everybody asked, please wishlist the game on Steam. So Joe said it there, but just to reiterate, I think it actually makes a massive difference for developers. If you're getting the game, if you've got an Xbox and you want to support Joe, if you've got a Steam account, add it to your wish list. Seems it helps. So please do that. Thank you very much, Joe, for coming on and talking about your game again and talking about all of these other things. Thank you, Erica. We've had you on a few times now, and it's always a good time to have a chat about all of these topics. Everyone in chat, fantastic, nice questions, conversation. Brilliant to have you all here. In terms of finding me, I stream every day pretty much on Asa_GameOnDaily. I'm actually away for a few days. I'm not back until Thursday now, which means I'll be a little late starting Song of Iron. But that's perfect. That's how I do things. I always try and give people a couple of days to play a game before I go in and spoil it anyway. So, catch me _Asa_GameOnDaily on Twitch. And we'll be here again next week. So we will see you then.
Hey everyone, welcome to Go Live.
Feel Dominos, Maximus, Aurelius, Spencer.
That I love playing games, but I'm also a massive nerd when it comes to the tech. Someone at Sony that remembers that is going to drive a lorry through the wall and say, hey everybody, PlayStation's at E3, we don't hate our fans, let's go, and put on their own show.
Put on their own show.
Is that wild enough?
Welcome to Versus. In this series, two contestants go head to head in a battle to the death. In this episode, we have two.
But we're confident, we're the Master Chief. Ish. I'm dead.
That could not be better timed.
One of the new items is the
Dude, you know how much I could have used that back on the main game? Oh my god.